Jim Meehan to please come up, and oh, there he is in staff.
One of the things so that our senator can speak and lead, I'll introduce Joe's father, R&D, and he will announce the coming of our supermarket. Announce Joe.
Thank you, Jim and David. I'm very pleased to be here. It really is a pleasure to be in this community. And believe it or not, we have been very well received in many communities we're going. I was speaking to someone earlier. It's no secret that consumers are smarter than they think they are, and they can appreciate that. We're pleased to be here. I think what I'll do is I can give you a little brush stroke of the project. However, we did want to bring it over to Senator Brewer so he can get on with his business here. At any rate, we've had a little bit of history here with Mr. Lyman and Mr. Colby on this property. Finally, we're here to introduce something. We have about 70+ acres that we will be developing into roughly 300,000 square feet at this time. My company, R&D, is a development company associated with Camilla Supermarkets. We are independent, however, we handle most all of their work. So we'll roll out a little bit of the project as we go. I'll introduce our team, but at this point, why not I let Senator Brewer speak to you folks a little bit, and he has a little history with us as well. So we appreciate you taking the time. Thank you very much.
I'm thrilled, just like Jim Meehan said, I am thrilled, and I know that you are as well. I am willing to put all of my eggs in the one market basket. As chairman of the Senate Ways and Means Committee, formerly I was the vice chairman, and the chairman was a man named Stephen Angie from Florida, who goes to the same church that the Muller family goes to as well. They are good corporate citizens. This is going to be a win-win-win situation. The first win, I spoke to the ultimate grocery shopper in my family, my wife Valerie Brewer, and I told her about this announcement. She said Market Basket is a great grocery store to shop in, great values, great selection, and 330,000 square feet. You're talking big. On economic development, an Angus store, the old expression in economic development is that a rising tide lifts all boats. And what other entities that will be in the shopping center? The third thing is the confluence of major transportation infrastructure. 32, 2, and 2A. That's where the private sector economy goes. The government does not create jobs. But what we pledge to you, what we pledge as the Commonwealth, is that on infrastructure, water capacity, sewer capacity, transportation capacity. I walked in today and I said, how many traffic lights are you going to need? They're going to need 3. I thought they were going to need 4. Jim Meehan, David Ames, all of the economic development people in Athol, the public safety people, the fire chief, the police chief, the planning boards, the conservation commission. This is a team effort. You're going to have consumers all the way down to Barry, quite honestly, coming up here, because we're only 18 minutes away, let me tell you that, from Barry. You're going to have an economic multiplier here, but you're going to have a dedicated workforce. You're going to have a willing and friendly neighborhood to work in. This will provide much needed tax revenue for Athol. This will provide employment opportunities for both younger and older people for this area as well, and a chance of competition for the very valuable. People are always going to buy groceries. People are always going to buy groceries. They need to have that for their sustenance. You will see them also as a corporate neighbor when funds for Little League or funds for other altruistic activities as well. So I am just perfectly thrilled. The Commonwealth, when they work on these things, is called Mass Development and Mass Works programs. I will be letting the progress of the bureaucrats behind from the get-go to make sure. Now, government will never work at the speed of the private sector. It doesn't work that way. But we need to, as Governor Patrick said, we need to make government work at a faster speed than it has on permitting issues as well. Make sure that we are not going to degrade the environment, but that we can work harmoniously with the environment, with transportation, and I've been coming to this good old town for a lot of years, and this May, I've seen what you have done now for the retirement, rental assistance in the old high school building. I've seen what you have done for bridge work, infrastructure. I have seen any number of good things, and the library, the process for the library. Sometimes when you're at the mountain and it's really close to you, as you are in residence, it may not seem that good things are happening as well as it does from 20 miles away from the mountain. Good things are happening in Athol, and they're happening for good people, you people as well. So I'm very, very honored and thrilled. I don't have to run out at the moment. I'm hiding out inside to listen to some of the details. But we are working, I know your highway superintendent, we should have the Chapter 90 issues resolved for the highway funding, the education, the budget issues. I spoke with Representative Andrews a couple of minutes ago. It's only 11 o'clock in the morning, and I've already kicked $220 million worth of questions on the budget. So that's every day, every hour to get a budget done in balance and on time. So it's a pleasure. It's an incredible pleasure to join you at this very, very good moment. Congratulations, Athol.
Joe, as well as the gentleman that represent, will take questions. If you have a question, you raise your hand to identify yourself.
Senator Brewer, that was really terrific for us. And when we talk about accelerating development and taking care of what our are doing for us, those are important conversations. So I appreciate that. You know, when you start talking about what government should do for us, this is critical to us as developers to try and accelerate, move projects along, to respect the environment. It's a pretty good segue into this project. When we first looked at this project, the size of it we thought was a little bit too large for us to take on initially, because in something like this, where we are taking a little bit of a risk and going outside of our demographics, the key, as Senator Brewer said, is to get the correct anchor in place to invite the rest of the retailers potentially along. Now, my company, a little background here, Market Basket, as the supermarket chain, we're opening, I think, our 68th store next week in Bourne, Mass. We just opened a store in Brockton. We are growing. Even though we are growing and are a multi-billion-dollar business, it's very much a family-run business. Artie DeMoulis, who is Mike DeMoulis' son, you'll probably see him riding around the streets and poking around in supermarkets and looking around. It is a large company with a family company feel. The commitment to our employees is second to none. Yesterday we had a retirement for a fellow that had been with the company 39 years in maintenance, out repairing different problems in the store, the belts that are in the cash registers and moving around, just the work ethic that's incredible. But the point is that our store here initially, on the 300,000 people are proposing, the development has been dialed down a little bit from what we were originally shown at 450,000 feet, so we could stay away from wetlands, so we could limit our impacts on the environment per se, so we could mitigate the traffic. Our goal is to get this open early and phase in the development as it's appropriate. So the first piece of it will be a supermarket that will create a store like this, which is, we don't really have a prototype, but we're building about 80,000 of stores now. This happens to be 77. So there'll be 500 to 600 new jobs created with this. 25% of those will be full-time. All of our full-timers receive benefits, and we have one of the best benefit packages in the business with a fully funded pension plan and health benefits for our people. Even though they're retail jobs, the tenure in our company is second to none. And before I turn over sort of the information on the project to our team members, the critical component to our success, frankly, is the quality of our team. And anytime we get in front of government or government officials, you want a comfort level with the team that you can trust. And I'm sorry that you both can't see me over there. But it's important to be able to trust what's being presented. The engineers that you see sitting next to me here, I've worked with for many years. I have old-standing relationships with these guys. We don't do projects and not complete them. We have yet to do a project and not complete it. We are thrilled to be in Athol, and if you bear with us, I think you'll see terrific growth. So, to my left is Rich O'Connell. He's the principal at R.J. O'Connell, a civil engineering firm. They'll be taking the lead on the civil engineering piece of this. You can rest assured the work will be quality, and we've been around the corner enough to know what we'd like to see. His associate, Paul Looney, and also civil engineer, and Kevin Danbury with TEC, a principal with TEC. I've worked with Kevin for 20 years. He has to solve the traffic issues here. So the point being, these guys are seasoned. We've worked with them. The quality of the work will be strong. And the reason the project is a particular size is so that we can thoughtfully approach the phases. So with that, I'd like to just turn over some of the elements of the design to Rich start things up, and then we'll move on to traffic. But by and large, if we don't design a good project that functions safely and efficiently, you're probably not going to shop there. And in order for us to get this place to function, the signals have to work properly. We need to get people in and out safely. There has to be adequate parking facilities and infrastructure. So we will be participating with the town as well to advance some infrastructure programs as well. So I really do thank you, and we do appreciate your hospitality, obviously coming out Thursday afternoon at 11. Sun's out. Terrific thing.
I was remiss in not asking Denise if she'd like to say a few words.
I am absolutely thrilled, and I know many of you have been working on this for many years. You can't leave jobs, good jobs coming, and good jobs you bring, which is benefits, good values of a company, and long-term relationships. So thank you on that. The other thing you can't beat is competitiveness in the marketplace. Because when there's competition, it helps companies continue to do the right thing, which is keep affordable, good pricing, good products on the shelves for hardworking families that go in and depend on business to do the right thing. As you know, I spent 35 years in Procter & Gamble business, a great company, and I'm trying to bring that to government so that government does do its fair share of efficiency, support, and bring better standards to our good folks in this district. So all Godspeed, okay? We can have ribbon cutting in spring versus summer, and it makes a huge difference. That's 3 months of jobs. So God bless and thank you.
Suzanne, would you like to speak to this one?
Good morning. This is happy news. On behalf of the Athol Board of Selectmen, and I'm going to take the opportunity to say on behalf of all of the citizens of Athol, thank you so much for bringing jobs, at competitively priced groceries to people, and just a new life into the community. And we greatly welcome you, and will help you in any way necessary to get you guys up and running as soon as possible. I'll tell you a little story about Market Basket. We don't have one close by us, and I had my niece when she was 2.5 years old, and one of your trucks rode by, and she said, "That's Market Basket, they're good." And she knew that from just living up in New Hampshire and going to Market Basket with her mom, and that was one of the first things. I knew she couldn't read it, but she knew your logo, and she was excited by you, and I hope the folks in town will as well. And again, we appreciate the work. We've got an incredibly eager staff waiting to take care of you folks, and just so many people who are looking for work, and thank you so much for coming.
We've now covered all the bases.
Thanks. My name is Paul Lee. I'm an engineer with into our design, I just want to take a step back and run through the existing conditions of the site and give you all a background on the specific project area. This is an aerial photograph of the site without our proposed development on it. So we fall in the project site falls within the major commercial overlay district. It's been approved through the state's Chapter 43D for expedited permit. And what that allows us to do is to streamline all our local projects through one committee called the Permit Authorizing Committee. The project site is approximately 50 acres. It abuts Route 2A to the north, or Templeton Road, Route 2 to the south, Route 32 to the west, and the on-ramp for Route 2 to the east. The site, the majority of the site is undeveloped, with the exception of a cell tower and also a gravel dirt access drive to the tower from Route 2 or Templeton Road. The existing topography of the site, it's conic in shape. It slopes up gradient from Templeton Road to about 70 feet to a high point that's located in the vicinity of the cell tower. And from that point, it slopes down gradient in all directions to bordering vegetated wetlands that really wrap around the entire development area. Recently, about 5 years ago, there has been some permitted clearing and logging basically around the area of the cell tower that extends out to just about the edges of the wetland areas. So as Joe mentioned, our proposed project is for a 300,000 square foot commercial development. At this time, our development program consists of a mixture of uses that include a grocery store, small retail stores, restaurant space, and about 1,700 parking spaces. That works out to about 5 spaces, or a little over 5 spaces per 1,000 square feet of retail space, which is actually pretty standard for a development in the state. Based on these uses, we have calculated our estimated sewer and water demand to be about 35,000 gallons per day. There is sewer infrastructure available in Templeton Road that's adequate to meet the needs of our development. We've also verified with the wastewater treatment plant that they have the available capacity to handle the estimated flows from our development site. The water infrastructure is a little more complicated. There is water infrastructure available in Templeton Road, but it's inadequate in terms of providing both pressure and flow to the development area. The town has been working with a water consultant, Tate and Howard, and they've developed a regional solution to meet water needs for the area. And we've also been coordinating with Tate and Howard, and we've reviewed their reports. And what they identified is a location in the vicinity of our development for a new water tower. And they've also identified infrastructure improvements along Templeton Road. So what our intent is to partner with the town and provide some financial aid in delivering some of these improvements to facilitate the opening of our stores. So what we've done is, as part of our development program, we've incorporated that location for the new water tower. This water tower will draw from a proposed booster pump that's located on Templeton Road, and that draws from an existing water tower that's on Garfield Road, just west of the site. The other improvements include upgrading the 6-inch water main that runs along Templeton Road to a 12-inch main, and that would tie directly to our on-site distribution system and also tie into our site for our development, but it would also service the existing homes off of Templeton Road that currently are in a higher regions that currently don't have municipal water. It's also going to backfeed the line on Templeton Road, the new 12-inch line on Templeton Road, and provide significant improvement to the pressure and flow to the homes and businesses that currently draw off that 6-inch line. We'll also be providing a stub off of the back of our property, and this will be for any future development the town has in the master plan and any of the adjacent properties. I'd like to talk a little bit about our stormwater management and drainage system. We will fully comply with the state stormwater policy. And to do this, we have to look at it really in 3 steps. Actually, going to take a step back and talk about an alternative water plant. I apologize. If the timing, we do have an alternative water plant in the event that the timing doesn't necessarily work out. The town plans for the water is curved or stalled. In that event, we're prepared to have a completely private system where we have wells installed, and these would service the domestic needs of the development. We'd also have a fire pump design, and that would meet the fire protection needs for the development. It's not a road that we ideally like to go down. We'd like to go with Plan A, but it's one nonetheless that we understand we have to consider. Now, stormwater management and drainage. Like I said, we're going to fully comply with the stormwater management policy. And we looked at it in 3 steps. The first step is on a macro scale level. We're going to maintain the conic shape of the lot, but in order to achieve practical site grades, we had to flatten the knoll or the high point and use some of that material to fill in some of the lower areas of the site. From there, we designed infiltration basins around the perimeter of our development area. And these have 2 functions to them. First, flood mitigation. They provide peak rate attenuation in some of your higher mountains. And second, they provide excellent groundwater recharge. The next step is looking at it more on a micro scale level. The state classifies development of this nature as a land use of a higher potential to flow. What we've done is we've been incorporating what's called low impact development techniques. And what these are the techniques that they collect stormwater from your impervious surfaces or your paving areas, and typically carry those higher loads of pollutant, and they treat them at the source using vegetative uptake, bioretention cells, vegetated swales, and we're also considering some rain gardens mixed throughout the paving areas. That's not to say that the entire development drains like these, but where practical, we certainly incorporate them. And we feel we have really good coverage throughout the development. The third step is implementing a site-specific construction period pollution prevention plan, implementing a long-term pollution prevention plan, and implementing an operation maintenance plan. This will ensure that during construction, there'll be no untreated stormwater discharges to any of the wetland resource areas. It'll also ensure that once the development gets up and running, there'll be a regular maintenance and inspection schedule so that we can ensure that these stormwater systems are functioning as they were designed. As you can see from this aerial here, these dark areas are ponds, and around the outskirts are the wetland resource areas. So we were able to keep our entire development footprint outside of the limits of the bordering vegetated wetlands, which was really the goal of our project team. So we do have access drives from Route 2A that will require some level of disturbance in order to access the development. I'll let Kevin and Dan get more into the specific location of these intersections, but what I do want to mention is that we designed the roadway in alignment so that they cross the narrow section of the wetland area, minimizing our disturbance to below 5,000 square feet. And for whatever we disturb, we plan on having a wetland mitigation plan to replicate. I'll let Kevin talk a little bit about those intersections and some of the off-site traffic.
Good morning. Is there any questions? Is there any questions for Paul? For this time? Is that early?
They say the won't be, right? I'll be available after the meeting.
Can you hear me okay without the microphone? Great. My name is Kevin David. I'm a principal in the senior project manager at TBC. We're going to be managing the transportation aspects of the project as well as some of the overall state permitting. I'm a traffic engineer by trade. It's something I've done my entire career. It's something I'm passionate about. And one thing in working with R&D and doing supermarkets is that when we first get engaged in a new assignment and look at new sites, we look at putting our best foot forward first as far as what's necessary to make for an efficient and safe site, one that has good access, and one that's going to last long term. It's built with some conservative values for traffic growth, for the trips generated by the site, and how that not only serves the site, but promoting the public that may go by Route 2 or 2A. And it's one thing where, when we get introduced to a new site, we work closely with Joe and the other members of R&D. We look at what's going to be necessary from an infrastructure standpoint to make this a reality. And those are things that are done prior to getting to this stage. It involves a number of discussions with local folks, as well as Mass DOT, Massachusetts Department of Transportation, who actually has jurisdiction over 2A and Route 2 as it goes around the site. Just to orient you to some of our study area, the site is located here. We have 2A, we have Route 32, Route 2, and we have the westbound ramps that lie immediately adjacent to the site. Some earlier versions and concepts that were done by other consultants and other developers prior to us coming showed a primary driveway further to the west, one that is on the downslope of Route 2A as it heads down the hill, and it's a fairly steep grade. One that, sure, was separated from the ramps quite a ways, but it was one that was likely to present a greater level of environmental impact and certain challenges if introducing a signal on the crest of the hill that would be located further to the west. Looking at the efficiency of most of the traffic that will access the site from Route 2, it made sense to locate that in an area of the least amount of environmental impact, the narrowest point of those wetlands, that's located close to the westbound ramps here, but yet far enough away where we can get traffic operations to work smoothly. Our study area, and we will be submitting a full study within a few weeks, and we have much of that analysis already done, and that includes the intersections near Route 32 and 2A, the ramps down at exit 17, the site driveways south Roseville Road, and then the exit 18 ramps. And it's a little unique with how those ramps are spaced. They're separated by quite a distance between the westbound ramps right at the site and the eastbound ramps off the edge of the view. Today, some of those movements are very light, and in fact, some of those traffic movements are less than 10 vehicles per hour, especially those that are coming by this currently undeveloped site and looking ahead west on Route 2. Similarly, for those that are going east on Route 2 and looking to backtrack on 2A, the alignment of the roads dictates that most people seeking the shortest path and heading to downtown already get off at exit 17. So we've monitored those existing travel habits. We analyzed the population within the area, looked at the distribution of traffic around the area. And as far as the general percentages, the purpose of this meeting is roughly 30% coming from either 32 to the north or from the downtown area. 20% in the west along Route 2, 10% to the south along 32, 10% to the east along 2A, 25% because of the greater residential densities in the east towards Gardner, and then less than 5% is actually a fairly negligible amount of traffic that will seek to use South Russell Road to get to the north and northeast. As we look at the improvements that will be necessary to accommodate the existing traffic and the access to the site, we've looked at a situation where we have a limited access driveway where the existing gravel road is today. So it would permit right turns in if you're coming from downtown and right out only to head out onto Route 2A eastbound. The primary site access would be across from Orchard Road at a new signal location with additional lanes, so we would be performing one for widening Route 2A, as well as signalizing the westbound off-ramp. And although there's not a lot of traffic there today, there's still a lot of traffic that comes off here and seeks to take a left to head towards town. So we need to accommodate those trips as well as those that will take that left and take another left right into the site. When I say, we're looking to put our best foot forward, we have those discussions about that infrastructure, the number of lanes, how long they are, the spacing of the intersections, and we've had a number of preliminary discussions with Mass DOT to make sure that we have the scope of the study right, to make sure we have the depth of improvements proposed that are going to be palatable. And these are things that will be presented formally as part of the state highway access permit. We will be spending a copy of that study with the local permits because we want to make sure that Athol is comfortable with what we're proposing as well. Even though it's state highway, we want to make sure that we get that local endorsement as well. That's a process that involves environmental permitting at the state level. It involves that final design and the issuance of the state highway access permit prior to actually completing that work. There is sufficient right-of-way along 2A because the state had taken the right-of-way so long ago where there are no impacts outside of the right-of-way. Even if we were to add, there was an early request from Mass DOT to consider a sidewalk on the northeast side of 2A. We can fit all those things within the existing right-of-way without having private property impacts. With the exception of on our own parcel on this side, where we may donate a sliver of right-of-way to accommodate those extra lanes. As we look at the distribution of traffic, those go to a couple other exhibits here. As far as raw numbers, generalized numbers, the development currently sits at 300,000 square feet. We've developed our traffic numbers based on 310,000 square feet just to have a little bit of conservatism. We look at peak hour impacts of traffic, so the weekday evening commuter hour, as well as a Saturday weekday when the retailers are at their busiest. We look at adjusting that traffic to reflect average conditions, but when we took the counts back in September, that month is actually 8 or 9% higher than the average. So there's a level of conservatism there. We also grow the traffic at about 1% per year, which the trend, not only in Athol, but many parts of eastern Massachusetts, have actually shown negative traffic growth over the past 5 years. So we built yet another level in there. As we look at the distribution of the new trips, in the evening peak hour, there's roughly 600 to 700 trips coming in, 600 to 700 trips going out. peak hour. On a Saturday, midday, it's roughly around 900 in, 900 out. Now that's a combination of all the trips in, all the trips out, as well as traffic that's already on 2A or Route 2 that is going to another destination and just swings off into the site and then goes back to their original desired route. That's what we call a pass-by trip. When we look at how the trips look or where they're going to the site, we have Route 2A, and goes down. There are going to be some improvements, at least discussed at Route 2A and 32, because when you look at the alignment of those streets, MassDOT recently completed the sidewalk at Yale High School up to the intersection. Right now, there's two-way traffic going to more or less cut the corner between 32 and 2A, but it's pretty narrow. You're going to have to take that left turn across traffic on a curve. It's a fairly steep grade as you go down. And one of the things we're recommending that should be done, frankly, regardless of this private development project, is to convert this to one-way to the hill and to limit it to right out only toward the site. There are a limited number of trips that actually turn left here that can more safely only here. With the number of trips exiting our site, we have roughly 10 to 20% that will do this, but most of them would launch right onto Route 2 West Break at our site entrance. So we expect to have a negligible, not negligible, but a small amount of left turns that occur here, and we won't have one left turn that will come this way. The folks that access the site from exit 17, this would see maybe 102 per hour that would come off the hill and turn right with almost no delay to taking a right turn. But some of these things in the future may warrant a left turn lane and potential signalization. It doesn't warrant traffic signal today here, and it's unlikely to even with the site development traffic, but we want to plan for some potential improvement there in the future. How our commitment for this intersection fits with MassDOT's plans, that's part of the permitting process that's still in front of us. But it's something that we want to identify, really regardless of whether we do the development. So as far as looking at the improvements again, just as a summary, a new signal off Route 2A westbound ramps, adding a left turn lane into the site, and a right turn lane onto the ramp there, adding turn lanes so that turning traffic will move out of the through stream traffic, add a new signal here that would conceptually have a crosswalk and pedestrian signals, and then having a right in, right out at the secondary driving location, just going to address the hill. This would have all brand new pavement, all new signs, paved markers. And as part of the pedestrian bicycle focus of District 2, we're looking at also improving the shoulders of the roadway to have a standard 4-foot bicycle on the shoulder instead of the 2 to 3 feet that exists today, especially for the amount of trucks that are on 2 ways as well. That's a summary of the traffic. We do have a process in front of us, and we will be submitting a detailed traffic report, but that's on a goal level we're doing with the traffic.
Thinking about the number of trucks that go in and out of that area now, there has been talk about having access off Route 2 at South Athol. I don't know if that's something that has been talked about here. I know at one point we had a discussion. What we now have is businesses that are down
It has, absolutely, and the rate, the number, the estimate of trips is generated is actually based on square footage. That's something that's published by the Institute of Transportation Engineers as a shopping center rate, which encompasses supermarkets, other retailers, restaurants, even small markets. Has that blended rate, and it's called land use growth each one shopping center. And it's based on every 1,000 square feet of retail you have. There's an average rate and then an equation rate. And we take the higher of the two, which MassDOT knows is conservative, we know is conservative, but given the fact that it's planning new infrastructure, we want to make sure that it has flexibility.
Some ideas of what you would like to see, whether it's a country look or a city look, brick or flat. So take a look at what we have. The question as to the timing, of course, is the bonus question. I think our target would be 6 months of permitting and up to a year of construction maximum. So our target is fall of 13, really. And with your help locally, if we can go through the local process, dovetail right into the state process, which is fairly complex. Needless to say, 6 months worth of that, and maybe we start our site work and try and start our work after the construction season in the winter. Start in the spring, open in the fall. Takes us about 6 months to build a supermarket. The supermarket we're contemplating for Athol here is our latest, greatest prototype, which includes what we call a market's kitchen. So there is a little cafe integrated into the store. I guess the closest one to here isn't that close, but perhaps Burlington, Mass. But we have a cafe with lots of prepared foods built into the store, as well as big an offering departmentally as you'll find around. So we're excited to bring that out. We tested it in Chelsea, Mass. And since Chelsea, every single store we've built has included it. It's a perfect place to get a sandwich, a cup of coffee, or whatever. So that will be included here. And the idea is to try and stimulate some activity on property so that we can get a terrific complement of small retail started in a great fashion. We'll obviously be shooting the fashion and probably some restaurants here and all that. See if we can phase it in. I think the essence of kind of the practical piece of this is that when we talk to Kevin about, okay, how are we going to go about this, we purposely tried to stay off of Group 2 for improvements and impacts. Because we knew that would be a multi-year process. It just is the way it is. So I said to Kevin, give me the amount of square feet we can build here and mitigate it properly by staying off of Group 2. Let's do our improvements elsewhere. Now that doesn't rule out Group 2 work, but when you get into work off of the state highway in advance, we know from experience you can be years in the process, and we wanted to start a phased approach to the development. So the square footage was really developed by the traffic engineer. What's simple, what's efficient, and that gives us the square footage. And we are conservative because our stores tend to be a little bit busier than yes. I've brought them to it, since we just opened it. We realized that during construction, we didn't have enough registers. So we put the brakes on, we expanded it out, added a few registers, but our stores are built such that, we're doing one in New Hampshire right now, where we're putting 10,000 feet onto the side, renovating the whole thing and putting in our gallery. We do it all the time. We do it more than I was ever. But it happens. Anybody else?
Question on the traffic study. On the very side, you said not to be doing a lot of, you know, when the school is out, the school is starting, this area does get quite busy. It also gets quite busy when people are coming home from work. Yeah, they let them look there, because flashing, you know, at the gold is a regular working light at the peak times.
That's an excellent question. If you were to go back 15, 20 years ago, MassDOT used to do that at a number of locations where the peaking trends in traffic would fluctuate enough that they'd say, we'll keep it on flash throughout some of the day, but then turn it on in others. And that's what we call programmed flash light. Uniformly around the country, they've gone away from it because of driver expectation, the type of facility that people will come up to, regardless of the time of day. So some lights that you may have seen that are in state jurisdiction are flashing light, and there are probably very few that are still having been burned over, where they go green already, all times of the day. There are very strict federal requirements for the introduction of a traffic signal that have to exceed certain thresholds of traffic, both on the main line, which in this case is 3 meters, which is 2A, or the side street, which is 32. And as designers and as the city agency in MassDOT, they're very careful about putting in what might potentially be an unwanted signal because of the crash noise. It would make it potentially less delay and oftener to heading towards town. However, if a serious rear-end crash had occurred because of a signal that was not located, that's where they learn the lessons over time and make sure that they scrutinize the warning information. It's something that we've analyzed. It's something that MassDOT will review. We are aware of the high school being right here that is certainly an influencing factor. But we can only show the numbers that are based on real data. And that's one of the reasons why we collected it in September after school was back in session so that we can reflect in-school operation.
We have a number of bus companies. One bus company goes from Pittsburgh to Orange. The other bus company goes from Athol to Green. My question is, some of these buses, when they come to the grocery store,
Listen, whoever's home brings buys the drinks.
a lot of times, we also have consumer companies that bring older people to the stores. So you've got a bus now from Pittsburgh to, you've got a bus now from Greenville to Athol. And then a number of small buses that just bring, the shuttles. So sometimes we get 2 or 3 buses at the store at the same time. And then we take place somewhere in the town where the buses can stop, where people aren't walking between the buses out the parking lot and get one over.
There's always that possibility, especially with a site this size. And as our discussions with MassDOT,
In a meeting at the town hall. Why would you meet?
So they would
Don't let it off.
determine if they would also have to
Okay.
at the site. There's the flexibility and reason
Keith Lyman and Kevin, it's interesting to note that if we put signalization on option 2, immediate assumption would be that we might slow traffic down and not speed the process up rather than sitting there trying to turn left towards the center of town.
At the signal front site coming up where?
Correct.
Right here, that should improve. There's not a lot of through traffic onto it is not a warning signal. Certainly with the added traffic from the development, but it's at a level that if we did not put the signal in, then there would be longer delays trying to get off that off ramp. So it was from the traffic numbers perspective as well as the potential delays, it's something that would warrant a signal.
Keith, is your question passing by the site or at the intersection?
No, the question actually is when you actually have signalization, the traffic will be more efficient in turning off Route 2. Sometimes they sit there for 4 or 5 minutes.
Yes, I'm sorry.
We drive the trucks. That's
Absolutely. With each signal, depending on where it is, whether it's at a site access drive or at a stop, absolutely you're going to get larger breaks in the cycle to get you in. And of course, to get in and out of the site, you have turn lanes and also breaks and gaps in the signal time. The answer is yes.
One of the other public benefits too is that the way we align the driveway across the orchard, it allows the ability for them to have access to the fourth leg of that signal, so that rather than offset it and keep a stop sign there and have frustrated people that can't get out, that provides some efficiency for the neighborhood as well.
Thank you.
How far do you see the customer base coming from?
Well, since we have nothing to the west, hopefully they'll be driving a distance back to you folks here. And our nearest store is about 30 miles from Leominster and Fitchburg. So usually we see a logical split depending upon traffic. But this store will be significantly upgraded from our Leominster and Fitchburg stores and even up north to Ridge. So initially you'll see a lot of activity here. We draw greater than the average supermarket, but that really is up to the consumer, honestly. They run some big specials. We see people driving 20 and 30 miles sometimes to go get $3.99 lobster or something.
More specifically from the west, more specifically, do you see people coming from Greenfield direction?
Yeah, so what we do when we look at distribution of traffic is look at competing opportunities, within that area, and knowing that Market Basket has those current stores to the east that we draw what's called a corridor line in between where it would be more efficient to come this way versus going the other way. Those same types of supermarket opportunities with less opportunities to the north, to the west, and to the southwest. Distance-wise, there's a greater distance away that they can come from. But from a population standpoint, it is balanced out somewhat. So, Route 2 from the west, it's going to be somewhere around 20-25% of the traffic coming from the north.
The interesting thing is the figures, the demographics for an Athol for 30-mile radius is 854,000 people.
Okay. Yeah.
Big EWJ got one back. Kind of the out in the road was that once upon a time we heard that Market Basket may have been interested in the area of 4, but there was some concern about cannibalization from the New Hampshire states. And to be honest with you, there's a lot of them when you hear that's where people go to the Market Basket and Greenfield, right? And Swans and down.
Right.
I don't know, if prices was good here, I suppose it was stay at home.
No.
Gas costs is the same. But
Yeah, I think you answered your own question. Yeah, there is occasionally, we have stores in certain markets that are within a mile of one another. And it just becomes what's
heard that there was an interest before, but that you had not seen any of the numbers weren't there. What has changed given the, kind of the souring of the economic condition that's made this now a project you wanted?
I have to tell you, we always liked this location for a supermarket. What our concern was early on was we thought that the original design was over-designed. And we thought that 450,000 feet out here in one shot might be troublesome from a development perspective. And we didn't want to take that risk, frankly. And we don't. The right way to approach this project, which is what we will do, is we will phase it in as we get demand from our retailers. It's why you see projects like Westwood Station down in Westwood, Mass. Giant development, 2 million square feet of office, 2,000 apartments or whatever the heck it was. Huge developments, all borrowed money, and all of a sudden it blows up. It's too much. We're also doing the former Mulberry site in Waltham right now. Again, that was a related company's project. It was planned at 1.8 million square feet. And we went in and said, it's too big for the parcel. We permitted it for, we're going to start off with phase 1 at about 300,000 and permitted 1.2 square feet. But do it in time. This is a classic site that we need to phase in so that we can convince the other retailers that, yeah, follow Market Basket and get a decent business.
I put it up on our Facebook page and already like 35 people were jumping on it.
So we're happy to hear that.
To sort of follow, I'm Mariah, who is here with Cobble Chamber of Commerce, and thank you. To follow up on a little bit of what you were speaking about, of course, we'd love to have local companies taking some of this storefront and restaurant acreage. Are there going to be, it looks as though you've already got the footprint for the size of the stores and restaurants that are going to come in. Does the expense of that make it too challenging for a non-chain store, for a more local store to come in? And if so, is there any leeway in helping from a smaller business?
Not at all. What we're looking at is a design. We as a company, fortunately, don't have any debt, so we do not have the stresses that the debt puts on other development companies. That translates to being more flexible with rents for tenants. We love to have local tenants, and I'll leave my business card out here in my office handles that, as I said. So if you have folks, they are a tremendous complement to the neighborhood development. A local cleaner, a local, haircut